Hi guys, this is gsn1.com and I'm here with a review of the Nokia XR21, one of the few rugged phones we've tested this year. Usually we test cat phones, those from Caterpillar and Bullet, and also a few Motorola Defy units. Nokia XR21 is a 5G mid-range phone which has military certification and can be dropped on concrete. That's the selling point. It has a dual back camera, powerful flash, and no less than two extra physical buttons. We have one on the top side for SOS or whatever you want to customize it for, and another one on the left side. Okay, so let's unload the device and start the review. The price, as you probably know, is around $400 to $500, and design wise we have here a plastic frame and plastic back, and all the aluminum inside the phone is 100% recycled. It's available in black or this army green. It measures 10.5 millimeters in thickness and weighs 231 grams. It's got a pretty robust build. It's very well built, like a tank, and it can take a drop on concrete from up to 1.8 meters. It's also got military standard certification 810 and IP68 and IP69K as well. It can be dunked in up to 1.5 meters of water for 60 minutes. Okay, so it's pretty rough. It's got Gorilla Glass Victus at the front side for screen protection, and at the same time it also is pretty grippy, but rather long and wide if you have smaller hands. It can also resist minus 20 degrees Celsius, plus 55 degrees Celsius, and can take a serious spray water stream pressure of 100 bars. So yeah, pretty tough. Now the screen you're seeing right here is of the IPS LCD variety, 6.49 inches, with pretty big bezels if you ask me, Full HD Plus resolution and 120Hz refresh rate if you plan on doing some gaming. We don't, but we do want to show you a video. I have this clip here and let's check it out. Okay, so no support for HDR or other gimmicks. It's, I would say, decently bright. The colors are pretty well calibrated. They're not blowing your mind like an OLED, but still pretty well calibrated. View angles not very wide, to be honest. And the contrast just decent. If there's a very sunny day outside, you may encounter some problems. Now, we did some measurements with this panel here, and let's see what came out. So, as you can see, we achieved a brightness of 402 lux units. Our usual threshold is 400 lux. We're just there. We're beating the Cat S62 Pro phone and the Nokia X25G, but we're below the Cat S42 and the Cat S52. I'm using other rugged phones as comparison terms for this one. Now, if you go inside the phone, the CPU here is a familiar one, Qualcomm Snapdragon 695 5G, also encountered on the OnePlus Nord CE3 Lite and Poco X4 Pro 5G. The RAM quantity is, I would say, okay, 6 gigs, and we also have 128 gigabytes of storage, but there's no microSD here. There's also no lag and overheating, and the throttling test we did, I'm going to show you right now. There's a good news here that we didn't encounter a big drop in performance. It only lost 7% throughout the 15 minutes. When it comes to the benchmarks, we have you covered. We go here, and we start with Antutu 10, where we're just above the Moto G84 from Motorola and above the Redmi Note 12 5G. We scored below the Oppo A98 and below the Redmi Note 10 5G, while in 3D Mark, so those are actually the results for Geekbench. Let's try that again. Okay, so in Antutu 10 we scored above the Motorola Moto G84 and Oppo A98, but below the Moto G54 and Oppo Reno 10. In Geekbench 6 multi-core, we are just above the Moto G84 and the Redmi Note 12 5G, but below the Oppo A98 and the Redmi Note 12 5G. In 3D Mark, Slingshot ES 3.1, here we are, with not so many expectations from this GPU. We did manage to beat the Honor Magic 5 Lite and the Realme 10 4G, but we scored below the Nokia X30 5G and the Oppo A98. I would say typical behavior for a smartphone belonging to the lower tier of the mid-range segment. Now, if you go further, you're going to be seeing the temperature tests. In benchmarks, you achieve 31.9 degrees Celsius, and in games, 33.6. So no overheating here, obviously. Usually, rugged phones have a large battery, and here we have a 4800 mAh unit with 33 watt wired charging. Sadly, there's no charger in the box. We did the video playback test and achieved an underwhelming 15 hours and 30 minutes of video playback time. I expected more. We did manage to beat the Cat S51, excuse me, X61 and Cat S52, but we scored below 200 other phones like the Moto D5 2021 and the Cat S42. The continuous usage was also not very impressive with 10 hours and 58 minutes. We're just above the Moto D5 2021 and Cat S52, but below the Cat S61 and S42, plus 238 other phones. Charging was, I would say, long, 1 hour and 38 minutes, excuse me, 37 minutes, and 30 minutes of charge means only 39% of battery life. So once again, expected more and also expected reverse charge from this phone, as rugged phones usually do. Well, not this one. What it does have is the audio jack at the top and a stereo acoustic experience with a speaker here and the earpiece serving us stereo setups. It even has FM radio, and I think now it's time to listen to some tunes. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so I'm actually pretty impressed by this. Once you press the volume up button one more time, there is a special outdoor mode. I'm actually happy with everything here. Plenty of bass, lots of volume, no distortion. The back vibrates a lot, but that's the only drawback. So yeah, finally an impressive phone audio-wise. And if you go here, let's see the volume power. In our typical acoustic sample test, we achieved 83.4 decibels at the top and 91.1 decibels at the bottom, which is for me a record. I haven't seen as much this year. I mean, we did surpass the Cat S62 Pro, all the Cat phones actually we've ever tested, but we did score below a few lower-end Vivo phones or mid-range Vivo V22, for example, or Realme C55. In games, not as impressive, 89 decibels only, lower tier. We may have beaten the OnePlus Nord 3 and the Motorola H40, but we're below 380 other phones, including the Moto D5 2021 and all the Cat rugged phones. Camera-wise, we are treated to a 16 megapixel shooter at the front, cut in the screen here, while the backside hosts a beautiful camera module with 2 sensors and a powerful dual LED flash. The main camera is a 64 megapixel shooter with AI and f1.8 aperture, plus face detection autofocus. There's also a 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, and we're stuck with full HD capture only for video because of the CPU 30 or 60 frames per second. Okay, so let's see the pics. I won't insist too much on these pictures. This is not a camera phone and there's nothing to be mind-blowing about it. So we have actually 2 tiers of photos. There's the very rainy day where we took these photos, and they're rather murky, moved and unimpressive, dark most of them. Occasionally we did encounter a beautiful close-up of cranberries or flowers, so cranberries and flowers are those that stand out. The focus is actually pretty nice here, but I think I'm going to skip to the second part of the gallery. Some more close-ups with interesting details. There are too many blurred shots in the rainy part of the gallery, so I will skip ahead to the other part of the gallery where the rain had ceased and we got to see a bit of sun. Now this is where the colors are actually okay, and I'm especially talking about the greens. But one thing I noticed, both in the daytime and at night, you have to be patient and let the camera take a photo, otherwise things will get blurry. The selfies are actually above expectations when it comes to texture, detail and even focus. Okay, you're going to see videos later. Even the bokeh is fine, as they cut the subject from the background in a very fine manner. So yeah, so far selfie-wise the camera went above all expectations. Okay, going back to our usual stuff, the colors are fine here, if not a bit cold and realistic. But if you're catching some sun, you should be happy with the results. So there's enough light here, but if you go to ultra wide, the details will fade away and the light won't be as satisfying. In general, you're working with only 8 megapixels, so ultra wide will be a bit of a bummer. But all in all, you can maybe pull off a publishable Facebook photo 1 in 10. So regular camera shot, ultra wide camera shot, we are losing details and things get fuzzier on the sides. But then again, the green hues and the focus are spot on. I would say that at best we're at the level of a Moto G54, at worst a cheap Poco phone. These have been the daytime photos. Let's see the nighttime ones. So here the star of the show is definitely the night mode, even though sometimes it exaggerates with the way it fixes the lighting. It makes it feel like it's daytime. Sorry for that. It makes it feel like it's daytime, so yeah, Believe it or not, the street signs are quite well rendered here in contrast with the surroundings, so it's hard to get both right, either one or the other. Here you can see the effect of the night mode, regular shot, overblown street lights, night mode fixing everything but making it look a bit weird and a bit hand-drawn. However, the second part of the nighttime gallery shows the benefits of the night mode. So here we don't have a very satisfying picture, especially the top of the tree here, but it's fixed by the night mode. So it equalizes the quantity of light and the way it's distributed in the shot. This is not a bad picture, but look how the light gets properly distributed with the night mode. So yeah, that's about it. So far the three standouts are close-ups, selfies and night mode. But the behavior is low mid-range, to be honest. Okay, so these are the videos taken with the phone. We have plenty of them, so I think I'm going to start off with a selfie video, which is actually not bad for your TikTok needs. Okay, let's see this one with color. Once again, not bad. The red hues, blue and greens are fine. Stabilization, not the best in the world, but also not the worst. We have special options to fix that. And speaking of which, we have a video where we walk on a bridge, which is quite well stabilized. But you also have a few videos not as well stabilized, so there's that. The details are sufficient for Full HD if you don't have sky-high expectations. But every once in a while you see that in the distance things get muddy and murky, especially on a darker day. This is a focus test, which is actually faster than expected. I would say we're at the level of a Poco phone costing $200 or $250. And if you want a nighttime video, we have this one here. It's dark, it's shaky, it's noisy and definitely affected by the wind. So yeah, maybe don't film at night. The phone can't do it. It's in the lower tier of mid-rangers when it comes to that aspect. Now we go further and we talk about connectivity. The good news is that we're dealing with a 5G phone. It has Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.1, USB-C 2.0 port at the bottom, but the NFC has been hidden for some unknown reason. I mean, why hide the NFC? You can put it here to make it comfier, but the default version is with it hidden. Okay, so GPS is dual band, the calls are loud and clear, and we have some speed test results here. We even managed to do a 5G test, so yeah, there's that. It's an annoying element of the interface forcing me to test the video. Okay, this is becoming annoying. Okay, so when it comes to Wi-Fi, we achieve 301 megabits downloads, 318 megabits uploads. When it comes to 5G, there's 341 over 50.7. Sadly, we couldn't repeat the first result. We only got lower results afterward, which is kind of a bummer. When it comes to the software, it's stock Android 13 with a fingerprint scanner that annoys me because it's not very accurate, in spite of what you just saw with it actually being accurate. It's hard to find and hard to place your finger properly. Now, aside from that, we have the custom buttons here. As I said before, we got this one on the left, this one on the top. It's a red one. It can be used for SOS and a myriad of other features. You're going to find them here, quick access buttons. You can tweak what happens when you press it, when you long press it. You can set push to talk features, screenshot features, and you can light a torch like this. By the way, a very powerful flash for this phone. It's supposed to be used in the woods after all. Aside from that, we have the news feed here in the leftmost home screen. We also have these recents for your multitasking needs and split screen as well. The drop-down portion includes notifications and quick settings. And these are the actual settings with options for connectivity, notifications, battery, wallpapers, the buttons you saw before, security. By the way, not a very comfy fingerprint scanner. Usually, well, sometimes it misses my input. Digital well-being and parental control are part of the package. And if I keep pressed here, you're going to see the widgets, which are pretty much stock, nothing out of the ordinary. And of course, the customization, which takes colors and uses the wallpaper color palette thingy. And a few pre-installed apps are found here. LinkedIn, Netflix, My Device, Spotify, ExpressVPN, GoPro Quick, and Booking.com. I would say that's pretty much it as far as the current phone is concerned. And I think it's time for the verdict. Pros and cons first. On the cons side, a solid rugged phone which can take a beating. Okay performance considering the segment. unexpectedly good selfies and loud volume. Connectivity is fine in my book. Stock operating system and the promise of 3 years of updates and warranty is nice. The close-ups were nice, as well as the night mode when it comes to the camera. And of course the very bright flash is quite useful, plus the features of the extra buttons. Now when it comes to the cons, I mean, I expected more from the battery life. Also the cameras overall don't impress. We don't have a micro SD, we don't have a charger in the box. I think that the screen needs to be brighter if it's going to be used by a ranger or someone in the forest. It's truly important. It's also a rather big phone, long and wide, so yeah. And there's no reverse charging. Usually rugged phones have that feature. And quite pricey, frankly. In the end, I feel that it's kind of below the Caterpillar phones and the Motorola Defy ones. I mean, it's rugged and all, but it doesn't have those extras like the FLIR sensor, like the night vision and the others, or the expanded battery life, or the extra bright screen. I mean, it's very tough, and people may buy it for the combo of Nokia brand, years of warranty, and clean software, combined with the ruggedness. However, it needs a brighter screen and more battery if it wants to succeed, so maybe fix that for the successor. It's also got a very pretty camera module, I'll give it that much, but that's not a selling point on its own. So basically, if you do want a rugged phone for your rugged job, this is it if you want clean software compared to the cat phones and newer software and more updates. That's it from gsno.com. This has been the review of the Nokia XR21 5G. Goodbye.